am a researcher here at the University of Minnesota. I have worked here for about 13 years. My background was in genetics, and I used to perform genetic epidemiology research on pediatric cancer. I became sick with C. difficile in about June of 2012. It was undiagnosed for quite a few months, so it was about November of 2012 when they fully recognized that I was sick with C. diff. When I started looking into C. difficile, I found that there was this experimental treatment called fecal transplants. And as I started looking into it, I realized that the FDA had not approved this treatment yet, and it was, again, experimental. But there were only, I think at the time, 3 doctors in the entire US who had applied with the FDA to do these transplants with C. difficile patients. And Dr. Kortz happened to be one of them. And so I thought, what are the chances, being a researcher here at the University of Minnesota, and one of the 3 doctors in the US that does these is here at the same university. I've always told people like the story of like that evening after I got home from my colonoscopy. So I was resting, and I had a friend of mine that was my caretaker, kind of making sure that everything was going to be okay for the evening. And from across the room, he could hear rumblings of my stomach. Like, it was the loudest noises that have ever come from my stomach imaginable. And I always described it to people as, I thought of it as my new microbes kind of making their home into like my colon and kind of pushing out any of the bad bacteria that was still left, that they were just trying to kind of like all get along, my old microbes and my new microbes. And so that first night, it was just, again, the loudest noises I had ever heard. And it honestly was just a couple days before I could start feeling my energy coming back, my appetite coming back, and just kind of starting to feel like myself again. I have nothing but great things to say about Achieving Cures Together and the Westerhouse family. It's been such a pleasure to get to know them and work alongside them. You know, getting to know Peter Westerhouse and hearing his story, it's, you know, reminiscent of everything I went through as well. And every time you can relate to somebody who's kind of gone through that kind of suffering, you know that you're not alone, and you also realize like there's so many more people out there. And Peter's experience transformed like his life, took him from, you know, playing football to now running this nonprofit to, again, help, you know, cure people and help give people their lives back. And so the mission is right along on the same lines as what we're doing here at the University of Minnesota. And I don't think there could be a better match than Achieving Cures Together being the nonprofit to support our work here at the University of Minnesota. Yeah, I can't emphasize enough the work that Dr. Kortz does. Again, I go back to like the term like needless suffering often in my life, because I look at how there are these cures, these treatments available, and while fecal transplants, microbiota transplants are still considered investigational, they're not approved for any conditions yet. Again, the potential for treating and curing people for all sorts of different health ailments is just, it's exciting. Being part of this research is exciting. And so every day I love coming to work. Every day I feel blessed to have taken a really bad experience in my life and turned it into something positive, where I know that our research team is actually directly saving people's lives. And that's an exciting thing to be part of, and makes you feel really good at the end of the day.